your vagina changes completely, right? Like it gets ready to receive a baby, to get that head out of the.
So would you say your vagina gets bigger?
So I don't want to say that it gets looser, but that sounds gross. Like it kind of does, right? Like it gets long, and I was like, what the fuck? Do I have a dick? Yeah.
Chemical X. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Chemical X podcast. It's your girl, Veronica.
And your other girl, Alessia.
And today we have a very special guest, friend, maybe family member, Julie. I feel like we need like a sound effect. So, Julie, this is actually your second time on the Chemical X podcast because the first time...
Just blame it on me, guys. Just do it. Get it over with. Let's explain and let's get it over with.
Alessia lost the memory cards. But everything happens for a reason. Or does it? We don't know. But
we'll find out why.
We'll find out why at some point. But the memory cards are lost. So hopefully this episode is just even better. So the unseen one was pretty good.
You guys, you're all living with yourself knowing that those cards were lost in the streets and someone picked it up. I'm hoping a homeless person picked it up and just, sold them with all the data on there. I don't trust other people having my things. You know what I mean?
1,000,000%. But honestly, if anybody found a pink pouch in the Montreal area, just... But anyways, here we are today with Julie. Hi, Julie. Welcome back.
Hi. Thank you for having me again.
How do you feel having a second chance at the podcast?
I feel good about it, actually.
Okay.
I feel like she was low-key telling me, she's like, okay, there's some things I said that I would, second time around, I'd be more comfortable, doing again. But it's like, it's fine if I lose the cards and it's just us. Mm-hmm. But it's like, now that we're doing an interview with, a mom, a fresh fucking mom, she doesn't have the time to just reschedule.
Yeah.
So, Julie, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have other things to do,
I have like a baby, a human to take care of. So just to give people kind of the vibes of who Julie is in our lives, Julie is a childhood, best friend. And I found out last week that Veronica's related to her. So like, I don't know.
Well, actually, we were on our way to our baby shower and we were with our other friend and we were in the car. And as a joke, he was kind of like, Veronica, do you even know Julie? And I was like,
we were laughing the entire time.
He was making the joke the whole time. And I was like, but like, guys, she's actually kind of my cousin. And they're all like, what? And I think we showed up to that baby shower and I knew more people than you guys.
I think you knew more people than Julie.
But basically, we're like somehow second, third cousins.
Yeah.
My dad's cousin is your cousin. Anyways, it's a whole little
small world, though.
But yeah,
it's complicated. World. But we could maybe never have a baby together. So I guess that's out of the cards, just for, you know what they say. But okay, but I have a question. Okay, I have a question. You find out that your boyfriend, you guys have been dating for 5 years, you're in love, okay? You find out he's your first cousin. But you don't even know. You guys never met each other in your life, okay? But you're walking out of a restaurant one day and like your aunt stops. She goes, "Oh my God, you finally met your cousin."
Oh.
Or like, you know what?
God.
Let's say second cousin. Let's make it deep. Second cousin.
No, make it harder.
No, you know what? First cousin.
First cousin. Make it harder if you're going to do it. What do you do, Julie?
Do you stay with him? Nobody knows you guys are first cousins, by the way. It's just like you guys are both going to know that you're first cousins.
I think you can keep fucking, but it's fucking weird. I'm not doing it. I'm ending it.
Nobody knows
you can keep fucking,
but
but if it's somebody you want to marry, do you want a mango baby?
Mungle.
Okay, maybe that's me
Yeah,
to
maybe
say.
you shouldn't say that.
But like your chances of having a baby that's,
Yeah. First cousin is risky. You're breaking
I think,
up.
Like, right away, I would be turned off and I would start seeing him as a cousin.
But second
like,
cousin, you'd be okay?
Second cousin is like, come on. No one needs to know.
Baby, let's roll
It's just when we have the wedding and, both sides of the family are on the same side of the hall and there's no one on the other side of the hall. What happened?
So awkward.
I think third cousins, I'm like cool with it.
Third cousins is no one's even really judging
third
you.
cousins, shut up.
Yeah.
Shut
No,
up.
but no one's really judging you for third cousin. Second, you're getting some looks. First is
But
like,
in some cultures, that happens. Anyway, let's
To
not get
each
into
their own.
to each their own.
Yeah.
So we're all leaving our. I never said my answer. Nobody knows though. But the love of your life, it's fucked up. I would never get over it. I think I would always have this in the back of my mind, like you're my cousin.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
But we didn't grow up together.
And also, like, love of my life. Like, is there only one soulmate for everyone? Like, you can't find anybody else?
Don't start. Don't.
Here we go.
Don't make another podcast about the meaning of life, man.
I'm not doing it.
We turn on the cameras and
I'm
this girl
not
starts
doing
going,
it.
does the moon really shine? Or is that just the universe
So
telling me a sign?
there's a story that, you know, just every time I think about it, it just makes me die.
Oh boy.
So growing up, just to give you guys the vibes of, you know, our friendship, I was always too scared to steal. And, you know, a lot of people go through a stage in high school
But
where
not you. You were perfect.
I was perfect. I mean, you said it. I didn't. I'm not perfect. I was I was scared. That's even worse. That's more embarrassing. It's like, get this girl out of here.
The nerd.
The nerd. You can't even come when the other friends are shoplifting because you're going to make it obvious. So get the fuck out of here.
You're the friend that's going to go, guys, someone's looking, guys. And we're all going, act
Yes.
cool.
Oh my
I'm
god.
the reason you guys get caught. Just like the SD
1,000,000%.
cards get lost.
Guys, we know this episode is all about being a mom, but more importantly, being a MILF. And sometimes you just, you know, ideally people know you're a MILF, but sometimes you gotta let them know. And that's why you get yourself a nice personalized necklace, personalized bracelet from Every Jewels so that everybody around you knows just who they're working with.
And it's a MILF. Mm-hmm. Guys, head on to Every Jewels and use our discount code ChemicalX at checkout to receive 20% off anything on their website so you can be MILFing away. I remember Julie was going through her phase of, you know, shoplifting. You're like, you're supposed to
It was a short phase.
It was a quick one.
We're clarifying. I'm a mom now. Like,
Yeah.
come on. And
It's a rite of passage, though.
yes.
All good moms shoplift. I'm saying that so that I become a good mom one day. You know.
So you were taking, you know, some questionable stuff, but like we can question everybody else's basket, right? And one of the things Julie was taking were Tom shoes. If anybody remembers Tom shoes, every time you buy a pair, they give one to a person in need. Okay, so Julie not only was stealing from the corporation, but she was also taking away
From the kid in need.
from the kid in need. Like the one brand that's actually trying to do something good, fuck, leave the
know.
shoes behind. No.
I know. Don't make me feel bad about it. But anyways,
Maybe they still get the shoes though. You know, they don't. The shoe went missing. They don't know if they bought it or not.
you know
I don't
what's funny is that I was at the mall yesterday and I actually saw Tom's shoes. They still have them.
It's classic. It's a classic.
But Alaa, you still put your order for Tom's shoes, so I think you're just as bad.
No.
You secondhand took the shoe away from the kid.
She got, so this is what happened. She got a 6.5 and she needed a 7. So she's like, Aled, do you want that?
That's true. Actually.
They were highlight pink. And I was like, I'll take them. Because I had no style. We had no style.
Let's not talk about that.
Anyway.
Highlighter pink Toms. I mean, Toms already. Listen.
They were still comfortable though.
You want to talk about icks? He shows up with Toms on the dates. The navy blue were like cute.
I got those ones too.
Yeah. Good. Steal from the children, Julie. Keep taking.
Just to make it clear that I wasn't the only one stealing. Okay?
Yeah.
Like I wasn't the only friend.
Yeah.
Yes, Bob.
Basically, it ended really quick.
She's like cleared.
I think like I stole like a few times, and then like I
You
did
took
the
like
big store.
bikinis,
and like jewelry from H&M. You know, nothing crazy.
nail polish.
No, that wasn't me.
What are you, the police? Nail polish, belts, bikinis.
Like nail polish is like, okay, I just didn't want to wait the line. Fuck
Yeah, like maybe relax.
So then like I escalated and started stealing from Simon's.
Where they have a more, technological situation going on there.
They
You
have
know?
somebody watching the cameras
Oh, yeah.
at all
They
times.
have like at least 20 people, I think, looking at the cameras up there, and
But you thought you could beat all
I
odds, right?
so I remember that day I had a list for people. I was stealing
You're
for
such
others.
She's like a nice stealer.
For others.
And
Just not the kids getting the Toms.
And I don't think that day I had stolen Tom's. Thank God. Thank God. I had stolen like bathing suits and what was it again? Like shirts, whatever. It was the last day of high school. Okay. As if we have nothing else better to do. And I walk out. Well, first of all, the way I stole was I had my bag on one hand, I had clothes on the other, and I'm like taking things, putting it under the clothes into my bag. I had a way, you know. But I think it was taking longer than usual, and I'm like, I felt that something's wrong.
You felt that turbulence.
Yeah. I walk out of there, and within 2 seconds, I get stopped. Excuse me, ma'am, you're gonna have to follow me right now. I'm like, fuck. So he takes me to this room. It's small. It's actually the size of this room here.
Thank you.
Okay,
Small.
thank you.
Okay. So small.
Okay.
Tiny.
Find you friends who humble you, right?
And still use
But it's cute though. You know, it's a cute room. White walls, nothing crazy. And he starts asking me questions. If I've done this before, I go, no.
It's my first time. He's going,
And then
really,
he
this bag
goes,
seems a
I
little
saw your friend at the beginning. Does she steal? I go, no. You know, covering up for her too.
such a nice person.
Wait, so your friend got away and you got got?
And she's in the cafeteria having a lunch now. Like, and meanwhile, I'm here. Nobody knows I'm stuck in this room. And he pulls out all the shit I stole. And I'm like, fuck, okay, yeah. And then he pulls out my wallet and he pulls out the money that I had. I had enough cash. He's like, you could afford all this. I'm like, yep.
Well, then here we are.
I'm happy I got caught though right away. Because
Yeah.
then it stopped right there and then. You know? Like, so I called my dad because my mom was at work. And he's just like a little bit less strict, you know? So I call my dad. He goes, okay. So he comes. The moment he walks in, he sees the cop because at this point it's no longer the people from Simon's. It's cops now, right? He sees the cop. He sees me. He starts going nuts. Says, fuck, man. Carlos Desti. And I'm like, what the hell? He never acts like this.
You're like, I would have called my mom if I knew he was going to act this way.
So, yeah. And then we get in the car after, and he's like, really? Like, you have to get out of all the cops. You got that one there that arrested me. I'm like,
The cop is like, this whole family's fucked.
and just to be clear, he didn't do anything bad. It was at the time something had happened with his ex, and that's it.
And we don't need to get into it.
Yeah, but it was the same cop. That's crazy, though. What are the chances of that?
I know.
That's hilarious.
It was pretty funny.
Okay, so you
So
shop.
now you're a mom.
So now you're a mom.
And this is how I did it.
No, I'm dying.
Well, I mean, I think like before we get into moms,
Yeah.
I think we could talk about like, I know now like you're in a good relationship and obviously like it's the person you had a baby with and all that. But I mean, before that, you were kind of in a little bit more of like a toxic relationship. And we always knew, I feel like it was like the knowledge of the friend group that you always kind of wanted to be a young mom. Like you kind of always saw yourself being a mom, younger.
Yeah, definitely. I
Right?
think we could all
We all
agree
knew,
that I was
yeah.
going to be the first one.
Wait, is there a reason why you wanted to be?
For me, it's like in my 30s, I want to be done and like be able to just, you know, do other things in my 30s.
Yeah, no, I
That's
hear
how
you.
I see it.
I hear you, Julie. I hear you.
So now, a couple of years ago, I mean, I don't know how many years ago, but you were in your past relationship before this one. Like I said, it was a bit more toxic, a little bit more bumpy, you know,
Yeah.
as some would say. And at that point, were you still like thinking about having a baby, or was it like you were just like, ooh, maybe this is not the right relationship for that? Or like, how was that relationship in terms of just in general?
So obviously it was really different. I do remember him wanting kids. It wasn't really me. Like I was never really like sure about it with him. And basically, yeah, it's, you know, you have a feeling, like you have a gut feeling.
Your intuition.
Yeah, like you just know that this is not it. It doesn't end like this. So
Yeah.
Was there any like red flags in him that made you think like, I don't want to have a baby with this guy or something, because when you're dating someone, you tend to think like I'm dating you for like ever and whatever. But if there's always that little thing holding you back, like, was there anything in particular that kind of just made you think like, I don't want to have a baby?
Yeah.
I mean, like, there was a lot of little red flags, and like, obviously the main one was when I started having people come up to me and tell me that, he's done this or he's done that, or he's talking to this girl, he DM'd that girl. It was nonstop. And that was the biggest red flag for me. And I needed to get to the bottom of that. I'm really grateful that like people were coming up to me and telling me these things. But the thing is, I had no receipt. It's different, right? So I'm like, I need to find out for myself.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, I was hearing you guys, but I wasn't really doing anything about, like, I was kind of, blocking you guys out for a bit. I'm like, look, I need to do this for myself.
Yeah.
I need to find out for myself before I do anything. And I remember, I made some mistakes where I would just kind of go up to him and be like, is this true? And that's the wrong thing to do because,
you tell him,
they're going to lie no matter what. They're never going to actually admit to anything, right? They're going to make you seem like you're the psycho. You're crazy. I remember I was the crazy one. I'm the one with the problems, and I'm like, so don't ever do that. Never.
So what do you do?
You stay up all night. I remember just being next to him and like just waiting for him to text, because he used to text a lot in the middle of the night, and he would.
Well, there's a red flag.
Yeah, there's one.
That's one. Yeah. Another red flag though for me was the way he would text and the way he would put his phone back down. He would always have it turned downwards, and also the way he would text. I was never able to see his screen, which I find really weird, and I think that's a huge red flag. Anyway, so,
and you didn't have the password to his phone?
No, not yet. So I said I need to.
I secured that later.
I had to find out his password. One night, I just did what I had to do. I stayed up, kind of waiting for him to wake up and to do his password, which happened. And then that same morning, luckily, he brings his phone in the shower with him like all the time. This one time in that morning, it's as if God is like, this was it. He's like, you deserve to know the truth. He forgot his phone on the kitchen counter, and I had 5 minutes to go through his phone.
It's not like a woman. Like, you have time. If a girl's going in shower, you're good. But a guy, it's like,
yeah,
you put the password and they're already out.
Literally, they just wanted to rinse.
Yeah,
But at this
Your
point,
your
all
heart
night,
is like,
you've been thinking about like what app you're gonna check first and how you're gonna do it. I think at this point you've strategized the whole play.
So yes and no. I just remember my heart beating so hard. Like, I was just like shaking so much, but I needed to see this. As much as you don't want to see it, I had to. And the first thing I did was I went on WhatsApp, because I find that that's like the number one like app where you talk to people, but you don't really know, like, not everyone has WhatsApp, right? So you don't like, not everyone just goes directly to WhatsApp. You go to iMessage.
The guy I'm talking to has WhatsApp.
Oh God. Red flag.
Red flag. Red flag.
So
but he's not from here. Is that fine?
Okay. Anyway, so I did that, and anyways, I had 5 minutes. I saw what I need to see, got the receipts, and then I went to work, went back to my regular day, pretended like nothing happened, which was very hard. I remember like going to the gym, and he was also in the same class. Fucking awkward.
That would have been the hardest thing in my life.
Just like, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
I can't even believe that you did that, because I am so incapable.
Yeah, that's hard.
I remember when I went through my ex-boyfriend's phone while he was sleeping, as
one does.
As one does. And I remember like laying down beside him after, and I kept telling myself like, I can't tell him, like, I can't do this. And then at a certain point, I just like, I think after like an hour, I was like internally battling with myself, and I just turned it over and I was like, wake up. And then we had that whole fight right there. Because I just can't. So I cannot believe how you did a gym class.
Like, I went back to sleep, guys. I had to go back to sleep, right? Because it was probably 3:00 in the morning when I had found out. I remember like,
well, back to sleep. You didn't sleep.
Oh no, I didn't sleep. it was
Also,
oh,
you
no.
guys are living together, right? You have
Yeah.
a dog together. It's kind of like also like you're leaving it's more than just a relationship. It's
Yeah, it made it a little bit harder because of that, for sure.
And then, so after now, you went back to work, everything, you pretended,
I go back
you're
to work.
strategic. What's your next move now? Were you immediately like, okay, I'm done? Because I
Yeah.
know some people find out they're cheating. They go looking for the receipts and they're still kind of like,
or they get swayed back in.
Yeah, or like-
okay, he didn't whatever.
No, for me, it was like as soon as I saw it, I knew I was done. I was just thinking, okay, what's next? What do I do? Do I tell him right away? Do I tell my friends, hey, come help me move out before he knows? That's what that's what's going through my head, And so I remember just, first of all, I'm in my office. I'm going through what I'm
'Cause you took
reading. So I was just taking
pictures.
pictures with my phone. So I was reading fast, but at the same time, I wasn't really going through the whole conversation. And that's what I was doing after at my office. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, wow.
wow.
Yeah, bad. And I remember calling Alessia and I'm like, girl, like, you need to help me move out ASAP.
I'll never forget. I get the call and she's like, I remember you were sending me the screenshots as the day was going by. And she was like, you need to come help me out. I think a good thing that you guys did was that you moved into a spot that was already furnished.
Yeah.
So you were kind of just like, peace.
Yeah. Like
You're going to grab your shit and you're out. So I remember Julie, so she calls me and I show up and I'm like, okay, let's grab everything. And I remember you were like, obviously so down. And I was just like, Julie, we are going to laugh about this one day. I took out my phone. I was taking videos, doing anything, like making fun of him, making fun of his olive choice, making fun of his wine choice, like everything. And I'm like, one day we're going to pull out these videos and we're going to fucking die of laughter. So, they're on maybe 3 iPhones ago, 1 iPhone ago. I need to find them. But wow, those are some good stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
Honestly, like, you made it better. Like, I was going through a hard time, but I was laughing deep down, Like, I was. Like, you were making me laugh.
Well, it's because everyone knows I love olives. I grabbed the olives. I was like, no, he doesn't get to keep the olives. I think I was making fun of
the
his
olives.
wine. Yeah, no, it wasn't the olives that I was making fun of.
I don't remember anymore, but I remember taking the cologne I had bought him. I'm like, taking this back.
I'll give this to my next guy.
You say you took the dog, but I remember we left the dog.
No, I'm pretty sure. I remember.
didn't, Julie.
I'm
You
pretty.
left the dog.
No. I remember bringing it because when I got to my mom's, she started going crazy. She's like, the dog too, and the dog's going crazy, and she's not used to this kind of dog, And we had Sandy at the time. Remember?
Your other dog.
Yeah, and they were like, they just weren't really getting along together. So my mom was freaking out.
So I pick you up, I bring you to your mom's, and I think at that point you were kind of like, oh my God, am I really doing this? Am I restarting? A lot of people will probably be like, well, so just leave him, like, fuck it. But it was like your whole life was being turned upside down.
Basically, I was back at my mom's, and at the time, my room became someone else's room, my sister. Shout out to her. And so, I had no room. So I was living on the couch for a couple days. But I'm like, it's hard. Like, you go through this whole, like, you have nothing. You have something, and then all of a sudden you end up with absolutely nothing and your mom's couch, It was rough.
And at this point, like, even being the type of person where you wanted to have kids young and that kind of stuff, are you, like, kind of like, fuck? Like, I feel like what I envision for myself isn't maybe going to happen, because obviously you don't maybe meet someone right away, and it takes time to find even somebody that you want to settle down with, So I feel like it's such a hard, not wake up call, but just like such a hard thing to go through, especially when you want something like that, especially when that's something that you're like looking
I think
for.
that's why it happened for her, though, because when you're able to be like, I found the news, I'm not gonna work things out, I'm leaving. Yeah, you become a mom earlier because no, I'm gonna find somebody who's gonna respect me, who's not gonna do that. So you kind of just end up like moving on.
Yeah.
A lot of the times you don't become that young mom necessarily if you're like, I'm gonna
Holding
work
on
things
to
on,
things.
holding on to things. She's like, saw what I had to see, peace. Yet another opportunity to be a young mom. Crazy.
Like, I'm someone who's like, things happen for a reason. I go with the flow, and at the moment it really hurt, and I was like, this is it. Like, I'm not gonna find anyone serious. I'm not gonna find anyone better. Like, you know, you start thinking all of this. I'm sure everyone goes through that. And and like, it's hard. Like, you're just like, this is it.
Yeah.
Nothing better is coming. But
Absolutely.
it's not true, you know?
And then now, when you met your current boyfriend,
who has the same name as your ex. I mean, I don't know if we were going to say that, but what the fuck?
Let me tell
Julie.
you, that was something.
I would
It
be
was
like,
pretty funny,
no, like, I'm not
Yeah.
obviously dating somebody with the same name. Like, go fuck
I
yourself.
mean, you don't have to learn a new name, and you don't make any slip-ups. Okay?
Exactly. So, you know, it was,
Rude.
it was funny.
It was an easy transition. Would you say?
That's what I was looking for.
But like, when you first met him, were you guys like, how did it happen? Like, walk me through it.
Basically, like, we met at my new job. I had started a new job, and he was basically my tenant. He was one of my tenants. I had like about 247 tenants in total.
When you kind of met your new boyfriend, was it like, did you guys like connect right away? Like, how was that like? Were you
Was
even
it like
looking
the
for a new
movies? Was
relationship?
it love at first sight?
So, kind of, actually. Like, the moment we first met, he walked into my office and there was that spark. We both had that spark, apparently.
Apparently.
Well, I don't know. He could be lying about it, but I had the spark.
Here we go. The toxic never really leaves.
I got the spark, and he said he got it too. So, and then obviously, like, you know, when we started dating, like, I saw him around kids, and that was what made me be like, oh my God, this is going to be the father of my children for sure. I'm like, I knew it.
Wow.
Yeah,
Like, you were 100% sure.
100%.
And he was also ready for that. He
He
wanted
was ready
that.
for it too. He's a little bit older than me, so that was amazing. Like, it was easy for someone like me who's like, I wanted kids young, and he was older. And you know, usually men, like, they want to wait to a certain age,
Yeah.
right? They're not as ready as women are. So it was like the perfect.
Scenario.
Yeah,
Wow.
I got lucky.
And like, did you get into this relationship with a little bit of like trust issues?
At the beginning, yes. And I remember telling him, like, look, give me some time, you know, this is what I went through. So it's hard for me to, you know, get over this, or this is how I remember, like, being super open about it with him, and like how I felt, and like what scared me, and I think I recommend everyone doing this, is being super open with your next partner, you know, like, just tell them what scares you, and like what to, like, kind of warn them about, like, be ready for this. Like, look, like, it's going to take me a bit of time to get over this. So if you do something similar, or if you do this, like, I might act a certain way, but it's not because of you. It's, you know, so that really helped.
For sure.
And it took time, a little bit of time for me to, like, gain some trust, and you know, it's normal, but
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad at least you were able to get over it, especially like just with that next relationship, because I think sometimes people drag it on forever even, or for so long, and they can never let go of kind of those trust issues. So it's really good that you were able to like kind of move forward from it, and just like be open about it. And heal from it.
Yeah.
Were you planning to have a kid? Was it a planned pregnancy, or did it come out of nowhere?
it was planned. I had stopped. So I was on the pill for like 15 years. I'm like, you, my girl. And I remember, like, we spoke about it, and I'm like, look, like, I've been on it for a very long time. So obviously if I stop, it might take like a long time before, you know, I get pregnant. We spoke about all of that, and we also spoke about wanting kids. And so we're like, look, let's stop. Let me stop taking the pill. I think I had stopped I think it was end of 2021. And I'm like, okay, if we stop here, in a year from now, I'll get pregnant, and it'll be the perfect timing. And that's how we saw it, and that's how we planned it.
Right.
But then that's not really what happened. 5 months later, I get pregnant.
And you have no idea at this point, like, that it's going to happen.
No, at all. So I remember, like, the day before I found out, I was like on a double date with my sister-in-law and my brother-in-law, and we're at this like oyster bar, which you're not really supposed to have raw foods when you're pregnant, right?
Right.
And we're having drinks. That too, you can't drink. So I'm having 2 drinks. I didn't go crazy. I had 2 drinks, but I had a lot of oysters. And
Right.
so that night when I got home, I remember just puking out of nowhere, just puking. I'm like, what the hell? That's weird. Like I had 2 drinks. Like
Yeah.
I could usually handle more, you know? I wasn't even like tipsy or anything.
Right.
So it was really weird. And then the next day or a couple days after, I was at the gym. And this is the day that I was like, oh my God, something's weird. You know,
Yeah.
something's going on. I'm at the gym and, you know, I'm working out. And all of a sudden, like this guy who walks in and he's working out with his socks.
First of all, who does that? But anyways.
Anyway.
Like I get it. If you want to do, you know, your squats, there's this whole technique. Apparently, if you squat with your socks
Anyway,
on.
put on your fucking shoes.
Yeah.
Fucking shoes on. Keep them on. What are you doing? Fuck. So he's got his
You're
socks
fucking-
on, walking around the gym, back and forth, back and forth. I'm like, I'm just smelling his fucking feet the entire time. I'm literally just, and it's so strong. I can't even explain it, guys. Like I remember like asking everyone, like, do you smell that? Am I crazy? Do you smell that? And everyone's like, no, I don't smell anything. No. I asked my boyfriend, I'm like, but do you seriously smell? It fucking stinks. Like it smells. And he's like, no, like I think you're nuts. Hey, what the hell? So I couldn't handle the smell. I left the gym, went to Jean Couture, got a pregnancy test because I'm like, no, something's up. Yeah. Went home, didn't tell my boyfriend I bought a pregnancy test. Go home, piss on the stick, and I'm waiting. The thing is, like, I didn't even like tell him about it because I'm like, nah, there's no way.
Right.
Yeah.
You never
It was
think,
just like,
like-
I'm just confirming that I know I'm not pregnant.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. So I was nervous, you know? And
Yeah.
not even 2 seconds later, though.
I feel like even if you're
see-
not pregnant and you like piss on a steak, you're like,
Yeah.
what does that stick say? Like, it's that like, what the fuck is it gonna
I
say?
did a pregnancy test one time ever, and I knew I wasn't pregnant. Like the chances of me being pregnant was so impossible.
Because you were on the pill.
I don't even remember why I had taken the pregnancy test. Like something was going on. It was weird, and like even though I kind of knew deep down I wasn't. Guys, they're pissing on that stick and like you flip it over too because you're like I don't want to see before it's time. That is the scariest shit. I was really like
I remember.
I'm gonna throw up.
I remember when I had to check. I was like, I physically cannot go.
Yeah.
But then the not going was killing me even more. So it was like, and you also like when you see the 2 lines, you're like, let me read the box. What does it say?
Yeah,
Is 2 mean I'm good? 2 mean I'm bad? What the fuck does it mean?
You
You're
read the
looking
one
at the
that
box.
says,
You're
like-
like, and then you're just like.
You're
Was
like,
it
but
one
is
line
it
or
really?
2
Is that
lines?
really 2 lines, or is it just like?
Because then
the
it comes in slowly, right?
Yeah.
So it's just fucked up, man.
Well, not in my case. Those 2 lines appeared so quick. I didn't even have time to like sit down or like, you know, read the box again. No. Like those 2 lines appeared real quick because I was 5 weeks pregnant.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So at that moment, I'm like, oh my God. Shit. I feel bad now. You know, I'm like, oh my God, like my boyfriend's not here.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
You know, it should be like a cute moment. Like, okay, we're about to do this.
It's never like the movies.
No. I remember calling him and being like, babe, I'm pregnant.
You
He's like,
had your second chance to make it cute, but you still fucked it up.
I didn't know how to tell him. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I was like freaking out, you know? And he was like doing like a set of something. And he's like, oh my God. He's like speechless. He's like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm coming home.
He was like, why didn't you wait for me?
Yeah, it's true. I forgot about that. He's like, why didn't you wait for me? And I'm like, I don't know. I didn't actually think I was pregnant, but like, yeah, I did it.
So like, come home, babe.
He comes home right away. And like, I remember we're just like looking at the test and we're just like speechless. Not because we're like, oh my God, what the fuck? But like, we're excited, but also like, oh my God, we didn't expect it to happen this.
And also, I'm having a
Soon.
fucking baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. You just so many emotions start going through
Yeah.
your head. You're like, oh my God, like, yeah, life changing.
And like, we're in that moment where you like, do I really want a baby? Because it's such a permanent decision. I find like that. It's like it's so scary.
I need to know what you're thinking.
I remember being like, oh my God, am I ready for this? That was my like my thoughts. Like, oh my God, maybe I'm not ready for this.
Yeah.
And to be honest, like no one's really ready. Still today, I'm like, I wasn't ready. No one's ready though, you know?
Yeah, there's never a right time for anything.
No.
You kind of just have to jump in and like make it happen.
Yeah.
Obviously, you guys planned this, so it wasn't something that you felt like the need to get married before. Is there a reason for that? Is it just maybe something that like you're used to, or is it marriage just not something that like is as important? You know, I know traditionally people get married and then they have the baby, but obviously like it's 2023, we don't do things like that anymore. So what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, like things change, you know, like our society is not just about getting married anymore. Yeah, people still do get married. And yes, I do want to get married eventually. I'd love that. But it was never a rush. It was never like I need to get married before having kids. I was the opposite. I'm like, you know, I want whatever I want at that moment. And at that moment, what felt right was to have, you know, kids with him.
Yeah.
That's like what we're like, that's like our phase right now. We're like, I want to have kids, and then I see myself getting married like in my 30s once my kids are, you know, I'm done popping them out, got my body back. I don't know, I just like, it's different nowadays. It's not like what it used to be. And I think like there's a lot of them nowadays that are doing the same thing, you know. I think there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely. And I think it's interesting too. I remember you had said this in our unaired episode, how like it's almost better in that way because you're kind of seeing the hardest parts of the relationship before you're in a way choosing to commit to that person.
Right. And then you're like, okay, we went through all this shit. You know everything. You know what it entails. Like, do we still want this kind of thing? Because I feel like a lot of the times it's like we're marrying someone, but do we really fully know them? Do you even know who you are after a baby? Like,
it just changes everything.
I feel like
you change, both of us.
And like, I feel like if you get married afterwards, then you really know it's for real.
Yeah, it's so true. We both like changed a lot ever since the baby came. You know, we've had our roller coaster moments, like, you know, disagreements or whatever. We fought, like we never used to fight, and like because of the pregnancy, when the baby came, it just like life just became about the baby.
What would be things you guys would fight about?
I'm trying to think. Like just, you know, it could be just about like the fact that like we're not thinking about us anymore. You know, it's just literally baby, and like, you know, we would bring it up and we would fight about that a bit. You know, him kind of being able to leave and just go on with his regular life. Meanwhile, I'm, you know, stuck at home alone. And
were there any things like during pregnancy that you were kind of like unprepared for, or like things that you're just like, I didn't expect this, or I wasn't ready for this, or anything that just, you know, made you, I don't want to say second guess the pregnancy, but just things that came out of nowhere that you're like, because I feel like we have this such like glamorous view of like pregnancy and stuff.
Yeah.
And like, I'm sure it's obviously not always like that.
Yeah. So like, obviously I was so excited, but also worried. And, you know, there's a lot of fun about it. Like there's like your cute bump that starts to show. That's fun. People start treating you like, oh my God, go ahead. Like, oh my God, you were getting the first service with everything.
I remember. So in this episode, we're talking a lot about, you know, babies, MILFs, and, you know, Julie, who's over here right now, she had a baby. And Julie, would you say that your man, you know, you have a baby right now because he shaved his bush?
He did.
So, you know, we think here on the Chemical X podcast that having no hair makes you a little more aerodynamic. And there's no science per se behind this, but I'm pretty sure if you shave your balls, that sperm is just, it's sperming a little faster, it's sperming a little quicker to make that baby. So if you're trying to knock up your little lady, all I'm saying is a clean pair of balls might speed things up a little.
So guys, head on to manscaped.com and use our discount code ChemicalX at checkout to receive 20% off anything on their website, and we're also giving you free shipping. So you leave with free shipping, 20% off, and a fucking baby.
Win, win, win. Okay.
It's with everything.
I remember
like-
you were telling me, what were you saying? You're like, people can just sense that I'm pregnant and they're just like, they're more attracted to you. And I was like, oh my God, tell me about this.
Yeah. So it's a thing.
It's a real
apparently,
thing.
where, you know, I would walk into a room. I don't know. I'm at the pharmacy or something, and like I have men checking me out, and I'm full on pregnant with my belly out. And it's just, I don't know if it was my mom who told me or I heard it somewhere. Someone saying like, yeah, your pheromones are so high, like you like release a lot of it when you're pregnant, and so guys are like, I don't know, they smell it or something, and like it attracts them. It's weird,
It makes sense though.
but yeah,
It's like a natural like.
Didn't you have a friend who like loved to fuck pregnant women? Didn't you know someone who was
I
like,
think
it was
I
like their
knew
kink or
someone,
something?
Yeah, who like
I'm
was really
sure.
attracted to
I'm sure
pregnant
it's a
women.
thing.
But
But
it's
like,
definitely
what-
a kink.
But like, wasn't your man like, I feel like I'm fucking the baby?
so yes, yeah.
Like, I'm trying to understand the kink. I could
feels
be
a
so
bit like-
I could be so understanding of so many things. So I'm like, how? Like, are you,
You know
like,
what
babe?
I feel
be
it
careful.
feels like? I feel like it's like, you know when you have sex and there's
How
like a
about we
dog
ask
in
the
the
girl,
room?
does it?
No, but tell you know what I mean. You know when you have sex and there's a dog in the room and you kind of feel like they're also there, like they're kind of in it, but they're not really. I feel like that's kind of what it is having sex with a baby. It's like you're here, but like you're not really here.
So like
but
the
like
whole,
you're here.
yeah, the whole time he's scared. He's like, he feels like he's poking at him, you know, and it's weird. It's fucking weird, and I get it. But like at the same time, it was fun. I think it was fun for him because it's like, oh, like it feels different. Apparently, it felt different.
Why? Because your vagina's different?
Yes, absolutely. Your vagina changes completely, right? Like it gets ready to
A baby.
receive a baby, to get that head out of the.
So would you say your vagina gets bigger?
So I don't want to say that it gets looser, but that sounds gross. Like it kind of does, right? Like it gets long, and I was like, "What the fuck? Do I have a dick?" Yeah, I remember just like standing in front of the mirror, like it's like long, like your lips are like longer, and yeah, I guess you are like looser, but it's because your skin becomes very elastic because it's like it has to get ready to get, you know, to stretch obviously and to get the whole body out. So it's so crazy.
And your whole body is changing at this point. Like
Everything.
Were you somebody that you were like, I'm like loving my body? Because obviously you're somebody who love to go to the gym. You know, your boyfriend owns a gym, so you train a lot. And I can assume like when you're going through something like pregnancy where it completely changes your body, were you at any point like insecure or feeling some type of way, or were you just like embracing it the whole time?
Because when I see women like embracing their bellies, I'm like, wow, I wonder if I'm gonna be like that mom that's like, you know, like like Riri flaunting it like bad bitch, or am I like freaking out?
Yeah. When I was pregnant, I was so comfortable in my body. I loved the bump. I was flaunting it. I really did. I even took like some photo shoots. There was never a moment where I was like, oh my God, like what the hell? No.
Because
I
you're not
was
thinking, oh my God, how do I look? It's like, I'm creating a human.
Exactly. Yeah. And I was just like in love with my body. I love the big belly. Yes, I was super swollen at some point, especially towards the end. And that's when like it started scaring me a little bit because like there's nothing cute about being swollen, especially like your legs. Like it looked like my legs had cankles, you know? It was, but the whole time though, like I really appreciated my body. I love the curves. I didn't mind me gaining so much weight. It was more, I think after giving birth, like that's when it started to hit me like, oh my God, what did I do to myself? You know?
Right.
Yeah. That was hard for me.
Yeah. I think it makes sense because then it's like, now it's your body again.
Yeah.
And maybe because I feel like when you have the baby in you, it's like, this is like us, like
That's
it's our
excuse,
body.
you know, you got a baby in you.
Yeah, like you
Yeah.
have a baby in you. But I feel like once you have the baby, it feels like you're alone in your body again. And you're kind of like,
Excuse me, get back in there.
yeah, like this is on me now, if that makes sense, you know?
100%.
Crazy. But at the end of the day, like it's obviously not like you're having a baby. So I think it's less something that's on your body, but I'm sure it's still something that like is a struggle.
For sure. And I just remember like a lot of people like telling me like, oh my God, like you look so good. And it's true. Like people were saying, you know, you're glowing.
You were.
I think I was.
Is baby glow a thing? Yes.
I think if you're having a boy, you're glowing. If you're having a girl, you're not glowing.
You're not
I
glowing?
believe that though. I really do. If you're not
Really?
glowing, you're having a girl. Yeah, it's a big thing.
Wow.
which is okay. You know, it's fine. That's what you
Damn.
get when you're having a boy.
What would you say are the biggest changes after having a baby?
God, like body changes.
Just
I
everything,
mean, like,
even mental health. Like, how was that journey?
it's hard. I remember after giving birth, like I did get like, you know, the baby blues, postpartum depression, very slightly. I didn't get the depression too much, but I remember I think I did get it. I'm like self-diagnosing myself.
Yeah.
Your boyfriend's like,
But he's the one who was like, yeah, it's okay, sweetie. But yeah, you got this and you got that. It's okay. We'll get through it.
what were like the kind of arguments and things that you were battling?
So much. What I can think of right now, like, not only is my body so different, and like I obviously wasn't liking my body the way it was. I had gained a lot of pounds. I had like over 35 pounds to lose, which is like high for me. And I was, especially I was very, you know, into the fitness. I was just not loving my body at all. And also, like, I remember it was scary. Like the first few months, like, I don't know what to do. Like, you just get thrown into this new life now with this new human, and you have to do everything possible to keep it alive, right? It was hard. It was stressful. And like, I remember even when my boyfriend had to go back to work, he stayed home with me for the first few weeks because he saw that like I needed help. Like I needed as much help as possible, especially after going, you know, through the baby blues and a bit of depression. Like it was so hard for me. So I'm like really thankful that he stayed home with me and helped me so much. You know, he even did the 2 a.m. shifts at the first few weeks. So that was super helpful. Cause like, mind you, like you're literally I was breastfeeding. So you're breastfeeding every 2 hours. And this is like within the 24 hours, right? 2 to 3 hours. So I felt like I was on the couch all day long. I felt like a cow. That's literally what I would call myself. Like, I'm a cow right now.
What are the benefits of breastfeeding versus not?
Honestly, there's nothing wrong with either or. Like it's totally fine to formula, to give, you know, just do the formula. I just, for me, like breastfeeding worked for me. So that's why I kept it to breastfeeding for a long time. And I'm happy that I was able to for like 7 months. You know, they say like you have different vitamins and different nutrients
Makes
that you give off
sense.
to the baby. That I remember, like I was sick at one point, and because he was breastfeeding, he never got sick when I was breastfeeding, never once, thank God. And then when I started switching to formula, then he started getting sick. Well, I mean, a little cold here and there, which is also, it's fine. You know, he needs to build his immune system, which was, you know, it was like good. But at the beginning, for like the first few like months of his life, I was happy to breastfeed, and I was happy that it was a success for me. Because I felt like that it helped a lot with like health wise. But then again, formula is it's the same thing as breast milk nowadays, especially nowadays. Like the way they make it is like almost identical, you know?
Right.
So
Whatever works for you.
Whatever works for you.
No, exactly. There's no right or wrong. I was like I remember like being like, God, I wish he was a bottle fed, you know? Because it was hard. Breastfeeding is very hard. It's not easy. You're literally a cow. And I was stuck on the couch for like 2 months straight. I remember just staying on that one couch, like you have that one position and like you can't move. Like your nipples are sore. It wasn't easy. It wasn't as easy as people make it seem. I still have night sweats. That's another thing people don't talk about. You just sweat like crazy at night. I still get those. But I also just finished completely stopped breastfeeding like a week ago or 8 days ago. So it's gonna start only now. It's gonna start getting normal slowly. I'm gonna get back to normal. So yeah, we'll see. And also, I don't know if you guys know, this is crazy because no one ever told me this, but you only get your period back once you stop breastfeeding for good.
Really?
I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
I didn't even know you didn't get your
Yeah.
period while
I
you were
thought
breastfeeding.
once the baby came out, you went back to normal.
No. I still haven't gotten my period in like over a year and a half.
Wow.
How crazy
I
is
didn't know that.
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
Nobody talks about
But
it.
wait, why don't you get your period when you're breastfeeding?
Well, I don't know.
You're like, I don't know how the
thing.
human body
I
works.
just know the fact, but I don't know the description.
Yeah, I don't really know how that works, but I just like I remember like one person telling me, "Oh yeah, you're not gonna get your period until you finish breastfeeding." I was like, "Oh, okay."
And can
Crazy,
you get
eh?
pregnant while you're breastfeeding then?
Yes.
Okay.
So you can get pregnant as
But
soon as
you were
give
saying 18
birth.
months before is not good.
Well, for me, if I
Yeah.
don't want to have another C-section, if I want
Yeah.
to go through
Okay,
another
with a natural.
yeah, I would have to wait 18 months.
And what
Right?
would you say is like the hardest thing about pregnancy?
Like I had a good pregnancy, but I would say the first 3 months, I think it's 3 months, where you go through the nausea. That's when it hit me. I was getting so nauseous. I was, I puked a few times. I remember eating breakfast and then literally having like an English muffin up my throat.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
And you can't talk about it with anyone, right? Because you're keeping it to yourself. Like for the first 3 months, I remember not telling many people. I was telling my family, but not really friends. Like, so that was hard.
Also,
That was
like,
hard.
I think none of us are really going through it. So when you're kind of like the first one, like I know when it'll be us, it's like you have Julie, I'll ask
me.
you,
Yeah.
but when you're kind of the first one, you feel alone.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was hard. That was also really hard for me. So instead, like I had, let's say, my, sister-in-law to go up to if I had any questions. But you don't feel that like it's hard, right? Like you can't be like super open, like, oh my God, like this
Yeah.
happened, what the fuck? Or,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like there's only so much you can say, I think. But I do remember having, like, I did have a friend, I had worked with her in the past, and she had given birth like she was due in like a couple of months, and she was the first person I had told when I was pregnant. She's like, okay, this is what you got to do. First thing first, sign up for the daycare. That's huge. Yeah, weird,
Oh,
eh?
really?
But she said sign up for the daycare and get yourself an OBGYN doctor. Those are the first things that she recommended that I do right away. And it's crazy because I would never think of that. And
Yeah.
no one would, no one else would really tell me that, So it was like, I was so lucky to have her. And even till today, like she helps me with like everything because like we follow each other. Like her baby's a few months older than mine. So I literally like ask her like something and she's like, oh my God, I just got over that stage. Like,
Right.
this is what I did, Like she was so helpful.
Really crazy to think that like this human is alive because of me, and I also like could die because of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a weird like thought to process how like
Yeah.
you just change your mindset, and it's not even about you. It's not about your body. It's not about stretch marks. It's literally about
Yeah. Yeah. At the end of the day, like it was just about him. I was just worried that I wasn't doing a good job, like you go through all these things. And I think that was also part of my baby blues or depression. I was just like, I'm not doing a good job. I was putting myself down. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm bad. I'm bad at this,
Right.
It was,
Which I think makes sense. I mean, you're thrown into it. You feel like you don't really have anyone around you, which you do, but it's also hard to admit that you like need help or admit that maybe you're not doing a good job. Obviously not that you weren't doing a good job, but when you feel that way, you don't want to admit it to other people because then maybe they're going to look at you and be like, you're a bad mom or you're not cut out for this or something. So you feel like you need to keep proving that you know what you're doing when in reality, like it's okay to not know and it's okay to like
ask for help.
Ask
and
for help.
Yes. Wow. That's one thing that I didn't really do is I never really asked for help when I needed it, especially the first few months, I would say where they were like the hardest months. I needed help and I didn't ask for it. And I wish I would have gotten more help. Like, yes, my boyfriend was there all the time. He helped me a lot, but I think I needed even more help than
Right.
that. It's hard to explain. It's like, I just wasn't able to do anything normal. Like I wasn't able to cook. I wasn't able to clean. I wasn't able to shower much. Like and I needed that like extra hand.
Right.
My mom had helped me like the first week. She came over, cleaned my house, but then like that was it. And I get it, it's not her fault. She lives far. If I lived right next to her, like, in the same area, she would have came more often. But that wasn't the case. So, and she had to go back, she had to go to work. So it was hard. I don't know. I just wish I had asked a bit more help from, like, let's say my mother-in-law. But I was like, I don't know. It's like you're shy. You're like embarrassed. Like you don't want to be. You don't want to seem weak.
Yeah.
So I was like, no. Like I can do this. I can do this on my own. And that's what I did the whole time.
But you were kind of like struggling, and I remember you saying like you were crying every day, and like you were really afraid. I think something that was really important, you were saying like when your boyfriend started going back to work, you were like so afraid to be left alone.
Yes.
Which I can totally, like, I don't even have a baby and I resonate with that. Like I think that would be me. Like I'd be like, you're staying right here. Like
I think it's because men, they're going back to the routine, right? And you're kind of just like left.
Yeah.
To still keep doing the same thing you were doing, and it's like it's hard to watch somebody go back to normal, and you're like, I'm a cow on the couch.
Literally, like his life, yes, it changed, but I find that my life changed more. My routine changed way more than his. Like I'm the one on mat leave, right? He's on paternity leave for like not that long, so obviously he has to go back to work. Seeing him leave the house was like, I remember just being like so much anxiety would just like rush through my body, and I'm like, oh my God, like I was scared. I did not want to be alone. I was, part of it was because I didn't know what to do. Like, what if something happens and like I'm alone and I don't know what to do? Like I was scared, and also like I was jealous that he was able to just go out, peace, I'm leaving. All right. Bye, I'm going to the gym. Like, like goes to the gym, gets to mingle as in like, talk to people, socialize.
And you're a very social. You're a very social person.
Socialize with anyone. I was always home. It was the middle of like winter. I couldn't even go for walks. I couldn't go anywhere really. I couldn't leave the house because you don't really like. It was hard to leave with a newborn. Yeah, especially like that he had to literally eat every 2 hours. So it was impossible for me. So yeah, it was hard. Like I was jealous that he was able to just
pick up and go.
Yeah, pick his shit up and go and leave for a couple hours. Yeah. Which, I'm sure everyone goes through this. But it is what it is. Eventually, like I got used to it. I got more confident. I started being able to leave the house. And that's when like things started to get easier. We also found the routine that worked for the both of us, which I find is so important. With your significant other, like find a routine that works for the both of you. Like the girl has to be able to like leave the house for a bit and just kind of without the baby and do her own thing, whether it's going to the gym, whether it's going to get her nails done, shopping a little bit without the baby though. I think that is so important, and that's what helped me get over my baby blues.
Brings you back to life.
Yeah, like you feel a little bit more alive. Like, okay, like I got this. Like it's fine. It feels good, and that's like I remember for me, and I still do it today. Is I go to the gym every morning. So for 2-3 hours, I'm at the gym alone while he's at home with the baby, and that's what was
2-3 hours at the gym. What are you doing? Smelling people's feet?
Fuck, man.
My workouts I take my workouts very seriously.
What did you love eating?
Oh my God. So I didn't have a specific craving. A lot of people are like, oh my God, pickles and ice cream. No, for me, I craved everything. I'm a big foodie, and I love food. I love to eat. I love everything. Basically whatever I was craving, whatever baby wanted, I would order it to myself on Uber, and I went ham. I went crazy. I feel like
I'm trying to think, like if this were me and I'm going through this, I would kind of just want to enjoy the process and like eat the junk food if that's what I'm craving, and really have the experience, and you're not giving your body what it's asking for. Yeah. I don't know if that's the right thing, but like
I know what
the baby's going to come out like depressed.
So I remember my mom would say like, oh my God, like you're craving that? Well, you need to have it. No. Like you need to have it. Go buy it right now. Like go get it. Okay, mommy, I'm going to go get it. And it was funny because my mother-in-law was like the total opposite. She's like, well, you got to be careful, like you're going to gain weight really fast, especially if you keep eating like that. And which I was like, I remember the first 3 months, like I had gained, I think like 15, 20 pounds, I want to say. I don't know, something like that. I was gaining weight fast because all I wanted was junk food. No, I didn't want salads. I didn't want greens.
Were
I
you
didn't want-
nauseous from those?
Yeah, it got me so nauseous smelling, let's say, meat being cooked, or just looking at a salad. I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
You know, like it would literally like get me so nauseous. All I wanted was junk food.
But you know what I heard? And this is probably not true. But like I heard in like McDonald's and stuff, they have like certain anti-nausea.
I heard that too.
100%. I heard that too. And
Listen,
I
don't think it's true.
No?
You think it's
I
true?
think it's true.
I don't know, but I can imagine, like, I feel like maybe that's why I feel like a lot of times, like, pregnant people, or like when we're hungover, like we always crave junk food because it almost like makes us feel better in a way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Maybe it's because of that. I don't know.
I believe it.
You're like, it helped me.
It helped me a lot.
And now for me, you're like, this isn't about you, but I feel like for me, like, I'm so excited to be pregnant, but my biggest fear is giving birth. Like, and the craziest thing about being pregnant is that you know that at some point at the end of it, you gotta get the baby out somehow,
Yeah.
you know?
Why
Yeah.
is like birth not something that scares me?
No?
No.
Wow.
I don't know.
I don't know. For me, it really scares me. Were you, like, when you were pregnant, were you thinking about, like, oh my God, I'm like a little bit afraid of giving birth? Or were you just like, get this baby out of me?
Were you just like going with the flow?
No, I was scared. I remember that was really scary. I remember always like trying to replay.
Like what was
scenes.
scaring you? The thought of you maybe dying or just the
No,
pain?
not really dying.
You're like,
it
no.
was the pain. It was just the pain. Like, how bad
Yeah,
is it
right.
gonna be? Like, people
Yeah.
kept saying it's 10 times worse than your period.
Okay,
And I'm like,
you know
I
what?
just-
Maybe maybe I need to start worrying because periods for me don't go well.
Yeah, so I was just scared. Like, I don't know. You don't know what to expect. You're
Yeah.
scared leading up to it. I remember just like the whole time, the whole pregnancy. That's all you're thinking about.
Yeah.
And
Is giving birth?
giving
The
birth.
whole pregnancy you're thinking about
That's
giving
what I
birth?
would be thinking
all I
about.
would think about. You don't
It
even think
blows
about after.
my mind how that's not for me. It's like I'll deal with that when it's coming up. Why am I going to stress
I
about
know.
this now?
I don't
know.
know. I stress about it now. I'm not even pregnant.
Yeah. Yeah, you think about it the whole time. You're like, how the hell is this big thing going to get out of me?
Yeah.
And what's crazy is that, like, I remember the day that I was due, I was a week late. And apparently they say, like, when it's your
That
first
would start
one,
tripping me out.
Yeah, when it's your first one, they say that you're always bound to be late.
Okay.
I remember I think a week or two before, she was like doing strippings on me, or I don't know if that's the right term, but like basically she puts like her fingers in and she kind of like opens up the walls of, I don't know, your cervix. Oh, I'm probably
Human
saying this
body.
wrong. Anyways, she was doing a stripping and you could choose to have it or not. I'm like, yeah, sure, let's do it. But I remember like waiting after October 31st because I did not want a Halloween baby.
It's true though. Like, who wants to have their birthday on Halloween?
Because I was due November 3rd, and I'm like, oh my God, it's so close to Halloween. So I remember I kept telling her, like, no, we're going to wait till after Halloween. She's like, all right. Now, like, November 3rd comes. She's like, look, she's like, he's comfortable in there. What do you want to do? I'm like, all right, let's start the stripping. So she did the stripping. A week later, he's still in there. And she does the stripping again at my next appointment. And then, like, you know, the whole water thing, you know, your water breaks. So it's not like in the movies. It's not like you're gushing water and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to give birth. Like, get in the car. Like, it's not that at all. The day that it happened, I remember having like these like fake contractions. They're called like Braxton Hicks. And I remember getting those like kind of a month before, but like really light. I'm like, if this is what it is, I can handle it. But no, like when they're real, like the day that you're about to give birth, you start getting them really heavy, like strong ones. And then my water broke, but I wasn't sure if that was my water or just, you know, normal fluid, because a lot of shit happens down there. Okay, you're wearing those skinny pads throughout the end of your pregnancy. Yeah. You don't know what the hell is happening. And there's this thing called your the plug. Something your plug ends up having like coming out. And they say that once your plug comes out, then your water breaks. It's really gross. So the plug is like this gunky, this gooey big thing full of blood that like comes out of your
Really?
Yeah.
I never
So
heard
when
about
that
the
came
plug.
out, I was like, I'm like, shit, I was warned about this. So the next step is your water breaks. And then
Right.
within this, I think the same day, my water broke. But the thing is, I wasn't even sure. I'm like, is this my water? Like, I'm not even sure. Like, I was in a bowl and I'm like, I don't know. Like, so I remember calling my hospital and she's like, look, like, just come in, you know, we'll check.
Yeah.
If it didn't break, we'll send you back home. If not, we'll keep you here. I'm like, all right. I called my boyfriend. He was at the gym working out. And I'm like, look, like, I think my water broke. And I called the hospital. They said to come in and they're going to check me out. All right, perfect. I'm like, but take your time. Like, I don't think it's that. Okay. So he comes back home. Like, I think it was like an hour or 2 hours later. And we're there. You know, we're getting ready. We take a shower. We're getting ready for the hospital. There was no rush whatsoever. Because we really didn't believe that, like, the water had broke. So we get to the hospital. Finally, it's supper time. Around supper time. Like, well, for us, it's not really supper. But, like, around 6 p.m., we get to the hospital. They check me out. And they confirm, yeah, your water broke. And I'm like, oh, all right. I guess we're sleeping over here.
We're doing this.
This is it. Like, now, like, this is when it starts to kick in. Like,
Oh my God.
It's happening.
Yeah.
You know? So they put you in your room. And they say, like, once your water breaks, after a few hours, that's when you start getting the real contractions. And let me tell you, they were real. Like, they were so intense, so painful. So
what does it feel like for anyone who doesn't know, like me? Because I have really bad period cramps. Like, is it like a knife is like stabbing your stomach?
It's hard to explain the feeling, but what I could say is that it is 10 times worse than your period cramps. It was so painful. I remember, like, I wanted to die. I kept telling my boyfriend, like, I want to fucking die. Like, it was so painful.
God.
Crying, like, just like being in so much pain. And I remember, like, they were giving me, you know, they were putting me on all kinds of drugs. I was on, what do you call it? Morphine. They were putting me on, like, twice they put me on morphine. It wasn't really doing much. I remember I'm like, I don't feel anything.
Did you take the
Epidural.
The epidural.
Yeah.
So the epidural is not what you think it is anymore. It's not that big ass needle in your back, eh? It's not that. It's like these 4 needles, these 4 little needles they put in your back, but they stay in you, and so they can keep giving you a dosage,
Right.
whenever you need it. Let's say, which was weird. I wasn't expecting that. I expected the big needle. I remember my mom being like, "Okay, like, don't move. Like, it's so important. You can't move," and like, I remember being scared about that, you know. But then when they went in and like, oh, don't worry about it, just 4 little things. I was like, okay. I didn't feel a thing because the pain I was going through was way worse than what they were doing in my back. I don't really remember if it really helped that much though. So I don't know. It's definitely different than the epidural. It wasn't the same, and I still was in pain.
Yeah.
You know, it was weird. It's weird to explain. Yeah.
And like now, at what point do you even get the epidural?
You're like around 5 centimeters
Okay.
dilated.
Okay.
Yeah. So I remember that's what it was. I was around 5, and then at one point I was at 6, and then for 6 hours straight I was stuck at 6, and I wasn't getting bigger. Like, I wasn't widening up. And I remember, like, at one point, like, nurses came in rushing, and because his heartbeat was going lower, and we're both, like, me and my boyfriend were like kind of getting worried, like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it was so long. I was in labor for over 17 hours.
That's so crazy.
That's crazy.
And
That's
I remember,
literally
and I forgot a point. They make you go in this bath, okay, which you think it's a whole treatment. You think you're in a spa. No, you get in this big ass bath. It's warm, and you're alone.
Amazing.
It sounds amazing, but I wasn't liking it at all. I remember being in the bath and, like, still in so much pain. It's supposed to help with the pain, but I didn't feel like it was helping much.
Yeah.
But my boyfriend was enjoying it because apparently I look like a whale in there. He's like, fuck, you look hilarious right now. He's videotaping me, and I'm like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And I'm just there like, so before going into labor, you go like I took like not a class, but I had like watched a video on how to breathe, the right way to breathe. And apparently it helps. And I think it did a little bit, but one of them is you sound like a whale, literally. You're like, ooh. Anyways, like, so I'm literally there, like, holding on this bath, and I'm like, oh my God, it was just so
And your boyfriend's
crazy.
just videotaping
He's
the whole
loving
thing.
every single
Your boyfriend's
moment.
like, what the fuck is happening, man?
But he was loving it. He was just like videotaping.
Oh, best day of his life.
Best day ever. For
So
him.
finally, 17 hours later.
Yeah, so 17 hours later, so this was after the bath, right? Now we're back, and I remember like we did overnight. I was like awake all night long. My boyfriend wanted to sleep. Every like 10 minutes, I would ask him like, hold my fucking hands. So he'd have to get up. I was squeezing his hands. Anyway, so at one point, the nurses like rushed in because his heartbeat was going down, and we're like, what the hell? And she's like, I need to call in someone else. So this, someone else comes down. She's like, yeah, we're going to have to do an emergency C-section right away. Like, this is no, like there's no other option. I'm like, oh my God. I was not expecting to go through a C-section. I had not read about it. I didn't prepare myself for it. I didn't think I was going to go through a C-section. Like, it's fucked up.
Yeah.
The moment they told me that, I was like, oh my God, I started crying because, I'm scared. I'm super scared. This is not what I wanted. And so not even like 20 minutes later, I'm up in the room, and my boyfriend's not there. And like, there's 20 nurses in the room. Then all of a sudden my boyfriend comes in, he's all geared up. And he's behind me, and he's like, touching my hair. And they tell him, okay, you need to do this, like caress her, tell her it's gonna be okay. At the same time, I have like 10 nurses asking me questions.
I have a quick question. Before you went into labor, were you like, babe, like if you were having a natural birth, were you like, babe, you're not allowed to look?
Yeah.
What was your vibe?
I told him not to look.
Because my man's not allowed to look.
I told him, no, you're not allowed to look. And I know that he kind of wanted to look.
Yeah.
I feel like they want to look.
Yeah.
But then they get scarred.
That's the thing, though. I heard that if the man looks, they get scarred, and then they don't see you the same way when they have sex. And I was like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
No. So I kept telling him, like, you're not going to fucking look. Anyways, we never got there eventually, like we never got there.
Right.
But,
Right.
But even for the C-section, it's like you have this big, these like big curtains that are hiding, obviously. But I remember like he kind of stood up at one point. He saw like a lot of blood, and he kind of got back down and got a bit dizzy. Yeah. I remember that was the scariest thing I ever did. I've ever been through, because you feel you're so drugged up, you're so numb, but yet you feel the tugging, you feel everything, right? They're taking the baby out, they're taking your placenta, they're taking everything out, and you feel that.
Yeah.
I remember the moment I felt them taking the baby out, you feel this like weight out, lifted off, and I was like, oh, it was so crazy, that feeling. And then seconds later, you hear like the baby screaming, like crying, and you're like, oh, this is real. Like I have goosebumps thinking about it over again.
Oh my God.
And but then like I remember it was so scary, and I remember like not being able to breathe. Like I think it was all in my head, obviously, but I'm like, I can't breathe. Like I do have a slight asthma, so I'm like, oh my God, maybe it's that. I have an asthma attack. Who knows?
And like so much anxiety.
I feel like at that point you're just like, everything's happening to me.
So scary.
Yeah. And I remember the nurse is like, well, look, can you do this? And I'm like, yeah, you're fine.
Are you talking?
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that though. She reassured me real good.
My God, I can't even imagine. Like, I try to think about myself in that situation, and I think it's something you just do. Like, you just like, you have no choice but to do it. But like,
through it.
I don't even know how I would compose myself. And I remember you saying like, when you were on the table, you were like, okay, I'm literally going to die on this table.
Yeah. I remember like I was shaking like crazy. So scared. I'm like, I'm going to die. This is it. Like you really, I can't even explain how scary it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was bad.
They say though that the second one's always easier.
So I feel like for my second one, I think it will be easier because I feel like I'm ready. I feel like you've been through it all already. You know what to expect a little bit, right? And I think I might choose to go through another cesarean since I've been through it now. I could decide to go with a natural birth if I want to, but you know what I mean? Like I already have a cut. Might as well just cut open the same place and just don't ruin my vagina. Just,
Slip it on right out.
Can you choose whether you want to have a natural? You can?
You can, yeah. Yeah. Like obviously for me, since I had a cesarean.
Do they say like it keeps your like vagina like smaller, tighter?
No.
Does it really?
I found that if anything, it shrunk my vagina. Like it became
right because you did
right
right.
It had grown and like it kind of shrunk back and even smaller than what it used to be, if that makes sense.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, makes sense.
So it didn't ruin any of that. So I was happy about that at least. Got a positive out of it.
Crazy how it just turns into a dick and then it goes back to a vagina, just like that. Oh my god!
I can't imagine I can't imagine any of it. But
yeah, and then it's just a crazy.
I think the craziest part is you go through all this giving birth, so kind of not traumatic, but it's really intense. And then after you have to make sure that you keep this baby alive, right after. Yeah. You know what I mean? Right after, it's
you're leaving the hospital and you're like,
you're healing, and then you're also what am I doing? It's just so much is going on, and I think people just underestimate that. I think everyone just assumes woman, you're born to be mothers and all this stuff, but it's a lot. There's so I don't think everyone, unless you go through it, realizes just how much.
Oh yeah, unless you're going through it, that's when you start realizing, holy shit, this is a lot of work, a lot that I wasn't expecting at all. You don't expect any of it.
Yeah.
And I remember being in obviously once all that was done, after a few hours they sent me back. I remember I couldn't do the tummy time, so that was hard. With the cesarean, they send you into another room and the baby gets sent to your room with the dad. And I remember it was still cute though, and I think it was a beautiful moment for him. They were telling my boyfriend okay, take your shirt off, hurry up. So he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, because you have to have skin to skin contact.
I did have it for a little bit, but it wasn't a nice moment. I got to have him on me for so long.
Yeah,
I got to have him for a minute maybe.
Yeah,
and there's a bunch of people there, all the nurses were behind me taking pictures. It was funny.
But why do they do that for human contact?
So there's something about having skin to skin contact. I mean,
I think it just
you'll
connect to your baby more.
It's connection, and it's also, especially for the dad, it's really important to have skin to skin because you carried the baby all this time, so they need that physical connection. But it also boosts the baby's immune system
so much,
and all this stuff. It's actually clinically, scientifically proven that skin to skin contact with both parents really helps.
So because I was in recovery for an hour, the baby went with my boyfriend, and I remember he had to do skin to skin, which I'm sure he loved it in a way. There's something really special about that, I think. And I was happy in a way that it happened that way. Even if I wish I would have gotten that, because you have the baby for hours, you can have it for hours with you, on your stomach. And but whatever, things happen for a reason. This was my path. And what I was gonna say is that I remember once you're in your room, now we're both in a room with our baby, and we're now what?
Yeah. Well, all right. What do we name it?
You're well, give it back. I don't know what to do with it.
It's so scary. And I remember, during the nights, there's no such thing as sleeping, by the way. You're always
so
awake.
If anyone's having a baby, there's no such thing as sleeping.
No, not when you're at the hospital, because they're coming in every 2 hours, checking the baby's temperature, your temperature, making sure that everything is okay.
You know what I was just thinking about? How my fear is not going in labor. It's getting given the wrong baby. I think about that. That's the things I think about. Is that weird?
I think it's actually a real thing, though.
Is
Very
it?
rare, though. Very rare, I'm pretty sure, but...
What do you mean it's a real thing? Like it
Like,
happened?
I think it could happen. I'm sure it has happened, but I'm pretty sure it's quite rare. Because other people are having babies at the same time as you.
But that's what I'm saying. I like think about that.
I don't
go,
think so, because right away they put the tag on their hands, and everyone has the same tag. Like I had the, like we all had the same tag, all of us. You know.
and the baby?
The baby too.
Oh,
Yeah.
yay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like
I remember
Tagging
it was
system.
written Bébé à Julie, and the date, the time that he was born. So, yeah.
Oh my
I still have that
god.
tag, obviously. You know, it's
Wow.
such a special. It's cute.
That's
Yeah.
crazy though. Like I can just imagine being there and you're like, well, what do you do for fun?
What's crazy.
You know what I mean? Like it's like, what do you do? Now you have a baby.
Now what? Oh my god, it's crazy.
is that mine? Who are you little stranger?
Literally all the time, me and my boyfriend were sitting down on the couch and we're watching him, you know, just play, and we're like, but who is he really? Like,
Like who are you? But it's
Like
true.
you
It's just-
belong to me. What?
it's crazy, like the concept of like just creating this person that like belongs to you and also like relies on you to keep it alive.
Yeah.
I think that's the craziest thing. It's not like a dog. You know, like people relate a lot, like having a dog is a responsibility and stuff. Like, yes, but I don't think it's the same way as having a baby. Like, a baby will literally die without you. Like,
Yeah,
I feel
like
like
they
a
can't
dog can kind
walk.
of scramble, you know, like
Yeah.
he'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But it's like babies are so helpless.
yeah.
Like, we're actually useless when we're babies. It's insane. So what would you say is like the craziest or like weirdest thing that happened during pregnancy, during your birth that you just maybe weren't expecting or?
You know, actually, one weird, like crazy experience was when I was at the hospital, and this was like in the middle of the night. It could be 2:00 in the morning, 3:00. I remember obviously I wasn't sleeping, and you know, I would walk in the hallways a little, like try to walk, because they like when you have a cesarean, they tell you like try to walk but slowly. So I'm there like I felt handicapped literally.
Yeah.
Like I'm walking slow, and I would walk by a room that a bunch of nurses were just there holding babies, and they're just there like rocking the baby, and they're talking, you know, and I'm like, oh my god, like what was that? So then I remember when one of my nurses had came in that night, I asked her, I'm like, what's going on in that room? And she's like, oh, actually, that's because the mom couldn't handle having the baby in the room, and she said like, I need sleep, take the baby away. And so the nurses take the baby out and they bring them in that room where they rock them to sleep. They make sure that they take care of the baby while the mommy, you know, has her sleep.
Oh my god.
And I found
that's
that so crazy. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should have done that too. Because
Yeah, you're like, do I get that service?
I didn't get any sleep, so I should have done that.
Wow.
But I found that so like
I
interesting.
can feel the remorse though. Like you can feel as like a mom to be like, you know, but I also like I get it.
Yeah.
Fuck she just went through pregnancy. She needs to
Yeah.
sleep.
Like, she
Yeah.
needs to
But like as a
sleep.
mom, are you like I want to have my baby with me? Like I not leaving my
I think
side.
there's so many
It's
things.
so many things.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never thought that was a thing actually.
Yeah, I found that
To just be like, take my baby. Actually, you
yeah,
mind?
yeah. There's some parent and moms that are like, I can't do this right now, and I think it has something to do with also like baby blues because you get them right away.
Right.
But yeah, some moms just can't handle it, and like it's hard for them, so they just need to like be alone and for a bit. It's
Wow.
just so
And I know you were
crazy.
saying something about like the cultural differences of when you have a baby.
Yeah, so I was talking about like we were discussing, you know, maybe why baby blues happens or postpartum depression. And obviously like I don't have any research into it, so like this is not scientific at all, but just when I'm thinking about some things that might cause it, and I think one of the big things is how people feel like they're alone or they don't know what they're doing or they feel like overwhelmed and they're like not sure how to do certain things. I think a lot of that comes from maybe Western culture and how we treat people who just have a baby. And I think it's very much like, you know, you have this baby and you're just kind of expected to know what to do, and we don't have very much like aftercare when it comes to having a child. And I think in some other cultures or even like back in the day, you know, hundreds of years ago, there was a lot more of like a community vibe when it came to having a baby. So for example, in certain cultures, they have things where it's like, you know, for 80 days, your mom moves in with you, she bathes you and she cleans the house and she makes you food and you don't touch any of that. And your sole focus is on like taking care of the baby and like feeding the baby and like taking care of yourself. And there's a lot of focus happening on like taking care of yourself as a mother. Whereas I think in Western culture, we put all this focus on like obviously the baby, but we kind of like don't focus on the mom and like what the mom needs. And, you know, there's also certain places, for example, like in Africa, where in the culture is like, you know, when you have a child, it's like, that's the village's child. So like everyone raises that child together, and it's like whatever that baby needs, and anyone will come and take care of the baby and be there for that mother and help her like heal and help her grow and teach her things. And I don't think we have that in Western culture. I think it's very like, that's your baby. And I think we're a lot more selfish, and it's like, you figure out your baby, like it's not a problem for me. And I think that could be like a big reason as to why I feel like people go through certain things like that, because it's like so much pressure and so nothing, like no focus on healing yourself, even as a person. It's like everything is about the baby, and you don't even get time to like heal or like, you know, just have really like a community around you helping you.
And like baby showers, all this happens before you actually, you know, are going through taking care of a kid.
Yeah.
After it's like, okay,
like have fun, you know? And I think that could maybe, like, it's just a theory, but I think that maybe has an effect on like how confident we feel, or like how like supported we feel, or even just like, you know, I can imagine like when you have someone like fully taking care of anything, you don't have to worry about anything, and they're helping you get better as a person. Like, it's like you're just like you're relieving. Healing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like I feel like I didn't get time to heal properly.
Yeah.
Because my mind was elsewhere. I had another job, another 24-hour job to do that, you know, and everything stopped. Like my whole, forget about me. Like, I had to take care of this, and I didn't exist anymore. Like, I couldn't think of myself anymore. I couldn't be selfish. Well, you know, well, you can't. I mean, it is what it is, but yeah, it's crazy.
I just think it's like interesting, the mentality that we have around like motherhood and like pregnancy, and just how I think it's a little bit more less community than other cultures.
Yeah, for sure.
Or like maybe back in the day was a little bit more like community, and that might help those certain situations, you know?
Yeah. I want to talk about baby names real quick, because, you know, when Julie was going through like, what is she going to name her baby that turned out to be a baby boy? You know, I remember being in the pool, and you're like, so I'm thinking about baby names, and I'm like, well, let's hear them. And you're like, you know,
we want something different.
I'm like, oh, fuck, man. When you hear that, you're like, okay, how different we talking? Is it different to the point where it's like, and that's why nobody names their baby that? And that was the vibe. She was like, so, you know, like, I'm a very big, like, universe girl. And I was like...
that was my boyfriend. That was more of a universe.
Oh, okay. Okay. And I was like, yeah, Julie, me too. Okay. Where are we getting at? What was the first name you were thinking of?
We really liked Jupiter. Like, love Jupiter. Mars.
Pluto. Leave the planets alone, man. Fuck.
Well, we wanted something original, different, you know, something that spoke to us. Like, yes, we want to go to Jupiter one day. Yes.
Pluto.
And how did you even end up choosing a name? Because the name that you chose is super cute.
Yeah. So
not Jupiter. FYI. Newsflash.
Basically, I'm the one who came up with all the names that I like. So I made a list with girl names.
And you checked it twice.
I checked it twice. We're gonna find out.
Who's Uranus or not? Your kid is called Uranus. Yeah. He's got to go to school.
He's so cool. So I made a list with, you know, girl names and boy names that I liked. I remember I was just always scrolling on Instagram, and there were like these like Instagram names, baby names, accounts, and I wrote down the ones I liked, the different ones I liked, and then I said to my boyfriend, like, here you go. Here's a list. Choose with you know, the list that I have here. And he went through the list, and he's like, oh, Lando. I like that. That's nice.
I like it. Picasso.
I like it. And then ever since that was like the one he liked. And then I remember we started, you know, telling our family about it, and they liked it too. So we're like, you know what? Like, I have such a good feeling about it. This is it. We just knew that was it. Once we found that it was a boy, we were like, this is the name.
Wow.
We stuck to it. Yeah.
Such a cute name too, and very original, but not not Uranus original.
Yeah,
you
it's
know, like original
Jupiter.
cute.
Yeah.
Like Lando, baby Lando.
He looks like Lando. Like he suits it so much, I find.
Yeah.
You know?
Very cute. I like
Yeah.
that.
So he's gonna be a race car driver one day.
So when I found the name, it wasn't through the F1 driver. It wasn't Lando Norris. I actually did not know who Lando Norris was until someone said like, "Hey, like you're naming it like Lando Norris." I'm like, "Who the fuck is that?" And they're like, "It's one of the F1 drivers." I'm like, "Oh my god, cool."
Then again,
Not
though,
bad.
I like that.
I mean, listen.
Yeah. If you're gonna name after anyone.
Well, yeah, if you're gonna set
not?
your kid up for success, right? Vroom vroom. Did you want a boy or a girl first?
So
I know we always say that, and it's like
we
you just want a
all-
healthy baby, but
yes, obviously that's the most important. I think like every girl kind of wants a girl. I kind of wanted a girl because
more
in my
familiar.
family we're all girls. We're 8 girls. And so I'm like, "Oh, we want another girl." Like it's just I don't know. It's fun to have like a mini me. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what it was. But then like when it was a boy, I was still just so happy. And I actually picture myself more with a boy than a girl now. Like I'm a boy mom, you know? I'm going to be that soccer mom. Like, all right. With my drink. Yes. Woo!
Julie was
Go
always
on,
a born
Lando.
actress.
You got this, Lando. Yeah.
You can hold your
Mommy's
drink.
here.
You know, like making mom friends, like soccer mom friends. Like I could just see that happening.
I literally
could.
see this for you.
Right?
I see
Yeah.
this for you.
Oh yeah, it's gonna
100%.
happen.
What would be maybe a piece of advice or something that you would do again or something that you wish you knew
Or do
earlier,
differently.
that you can kind of tell everyone, or a piece of advice that you could give maybe somebody who wants to have a baby or is expecting a baby or is thinking about it, just something that you learned.
So honestly, one thing I wouldn't change, and I would recommend anyone to do is to, reach out to someone that you know that has been pregnant recently, that has been through it, and that you're kind of close enough to be able to feel comfortable to open up and tell her anything, and I had that person. I had this girl who I used to work with, and she was literally like a few months ahead of me. And I remember like the moment I found out I was pregnant, she was also like, other than my family, she was like another person that I remember I told right away. I'm like, "Girl, I'm pregnant. What do I do?" And like she told me like right away, "Okay, girl, do this, do that." And then we always text each other still till today.
It's nice to be able
today
to
about
relate
everything.
to somebody.
It feels good. You don't feel alone, because that's the number one thing you feel when you go through birth, is that you start feeling alone. Even if you're getting help, you there's just this feeling that you're doing this alone.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's so weird.
Because you are, realistically.
Technically, yeah, you kind of are.
It's all you.
As much as people try to help or want to help, you're still doing it alone. You're the one giving the milk. You're the one, unless you're giving the bottle, that helps a little bit more, but still like you're doing everything else.
Yeah.
I would recommend like, reaching out to that girl that just went through it. And I do like, if anyone, like any new moms out there, feel comfortable to like reach out to me. If you don't have anyone else to, talk to, like feel free to like come to me, DM me. I am so open.
You love this.
I love talking about this too. Like I have another girl who, like I grew up with this girl. She's younger than me. She just went through it, and she literally, like, I was basically the girl that had helped me, right?
Yeah.
So it was just nice to like help someone else.
Yeah.
And
I think already you're such a social butterfly, and you have such a warm kind of like vibe. Like people just love being around you because you're so contagious. So guys, if anyone is going through it, Julie's your girl.
Yeah. Like feel don't be shy. Seriously, even if you just want to vent. I remember sometimes like I'd hit up my girl. I'm like, "Oh, like this happened. Like I just have to vent." She's like, "Go for it, girl." And then she'd be like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry you went through this. This is what I did that helped me,"
Yeah.
And it was so helpful. And like, I'll be that for anyone who reaches out to me. Honestly,
Yeah.
I will.
Wow.
Yeah,
Honestly,
I
it's
wanna
true.
help.
Like, I think, as much as we're saying like it's something you do alone and stuff, you can't do anything without a support system.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's what helped you through everything. And obviously, like, the more the better. So it's really good that you can do that for other people now. And I'm sure, like, in your second pregnancy, maybe it's something that you'll need less too, because it's like you kind of know what to expect
Yeah.
as well. I guess it could be kind of like a last question, but I know sometimes like moms will like stress that they won't like connect with their baby, or they're like, how do I know I'm gonna love my child, And like I always see that on TikTok and stuff. Did you ever feel that, or were you like...
No, I think for me, once I got through that postpartum, like baby blues and depression, all that, I started loving my baby a lot, like more, and like it just switched so fast. And like he's my world. Like and I know he loves me. He's a mama's boy. Like he, like I'm there. I remember like the 2 a.m. feedings that I would do. Like he would just stop like drinking and he'd look at me and like smile, and I'm like, that's it. That's I'm done. Like this is all I needed.
made it.
Like it's the best feeling ever. As tired as you are. Yeah, I just know that like I'm his world and he's my world.
Oh my God.
So cute. We are a camera down because this episode was so great. But Julie, we just want to say thank you so much for coming on. And hopefully, this episode can help anybody who, maybe you're not even having kids, but maybe it's just like helping you have like a new perspective on... Prepare. Just have a new perspective on pregnancy and motherhood and all that stuff. So thank you so much for coming on, Julie.
You're welcome.
We
Thanks
love
for having
you.
me.
We love you. And it's crazy. I always knew you'd be a great mom, but honestly, you're an amazing mom. No. You're like, do I start crying?
As usual, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below.
We love you. Woo!
Wow.